Right, hello, ladies, gentlemen. Today we've got something new, something I've never had on this channel before. And what we're going to do today is a quick review of this Scanpan. So this is a Scanpan Impact 28 centimeter model fry pan. And I guess you could call this an entry-level stainless steel disc bottom pan, but it's actually all right. I've got good things to say about it. Especially at its price point, and we'll talk about that later. So the story behind this pen is that this piece is approximately 3 years old now, and it is actually my mother's pen. So I bought this for my mother about 3 years ago. Now, before she got this pen, she always used to use non-stick cookware, and every 6 months or a year, she would get a new pen. She would get a new non-stick pen because the old one has worn out, and it just became unusable. And it used to really annoy my dad because he always said, "Why don't you get a pen that can last, forever, or at least can last much longer than 6 months to a year?" But the problem was that neither of them knew about the difference between stainless steel, non-stick, cast iron, carbon steel, so they didn't know any of that stuff. So then I said to my mother, I said, "Hey, look, I'll buy you this stainless steel pan. Try it, see if you like it, and if you like it, you can stop using your non-stick pans." And it actually worked really well. So I bought this for her about 3 years ago, and since then, this has become her go-to primary pan whenever she needed a fry pan. Now, these days, she still has one non-stick pan, a small non-stick pan, just for the odd occasions when she needs to fry an egg. But otherwise, this is her everyday go-to pan. So this pan gets used about five or six times a week at least. Okay, so first of all, let's take a good close-up look at it. So like I said, this is the 28 centimeter model. I just gave it a clean yesterday. I managed to get most of the black stuff off the bottom. Before I cleaned it, it was completely black. So this bottom, I'm not sure how thick it is, but I don't know, maybe 6-7 millimeters. I'll talk about the thermal mass or the thickness a bit later on. So this is what the pen looks like. And just quickly run through the build and the specifications. So it's a 28 centimeter model, but the diameter here is about 30. And the bottom diameter of this disc is 22.5. And the weight of this pen is 1.34 kilograms. So the thickness at the bottom, look, I don't know exactly how thick it is, but it's not too thick, it's not too thin. Feels pretty average, and I would say that maybe the thermal mass in terms of the heat retention on the bottom, maybe it's kind of equivalent to a 3-ply pan, like an All-Clad D3. I'm just guessing, just estimating, based on my feel of this bottom. So that's kind of the the heat retention you get, at least on the bottom part of the pan. Obviously, keeping in mind that this is not a fully clad pan. Now, let's talk about pricing. European pricing, probably around, from my research, about 60 to 70 euros, definitely under 100 euros. Now that I'm in New Zealand, it is actually much harder for me to find European pricing because, whenever I type the results into Google, the first results, the result that come up are always catered to the New Zealand market. But the price in New Zealand, the big retailers, the official list price is around just over $200 New Zealand dollars. But the thing is that these things, they frequently go on sale for around $65. So if you want this pen, don't be stupid and pay that $200 because you can literally get it for around $65, like really a few days later. So that's kind of the price you're looking at. And like I said, this is a very good pen for the kind of price you pay. So now let's talk about what I like about this pen. And there are quite a few things that I think Scanpan, the company, has done right with this pen. So to start with, this is a good entry-level pen that offers really good value for the price point. Okay, and it's got a simple, functional, and no-nonsense design. So there are no nonsense features or gimmicks, which is something that I always hate about cookware. The size is fairly generous for 28 centimeter pan. It's got a reasonable amount of a heat retention at the bottom, so the base is of a reasonable thickness. And in terms of the heat distribution, if you put it on a burner, it's actually not too bad. It's pretty good. You know, on my burner, which is a bit small, the temperature difference from the center between the center and the edge is less than 30 degrees. So I think, you know, at this price point, you know, you can't expect really much more than that. And obviously, if you have a burner that matches the size of the bottom of your pan, your heating is going to be even more. It's good. What am I saying? The evenness of the heating is going to be better as well. Okay. And also in this pan, like I said, it's been used 5 to 6 times a week for the past 3 years, and is proven to be quite durable. You know, there's nothing that from what I see now that would tell me that you know, this has a limited lifespan. So just based on the experience over the last 3 years, I don't see why this pan would not last at least another few years. So that's also something I like about it. Okay, now on to the dislikes. There's one thing, just one thing that I dislike about this pan. It's the only thing that I can pick out of all the design features of this pan, is that I feel that the bottom diameter is a bit too small for the top diameter or for the size of the pan. Obviously, this is the part that's actively heated, so the bigger this part is, the more actively heated cooking surface you have. Okay, so I do feel like they could have maybe made this part half a centimeter or a centimeter larger than what it is now. So that's the one thing that I don't like about it. Now let's do a quick comparison with this is my personal Demeyere Proline. So what are you actually getting? You know, in Europe, you would pay at least double to get a Proline. Here in New Zealand, you will pay literally like, what is it, $70, 500, about 7 times more, which is quite ridiculous. But anyway, to get a Proline. So what are you actually getting, you know, comparing an entry-level disc bottom pan to a very high-end pan like the Proline? Well, first of all, the build quality on the Proline is obviously better. You know, it's thicker, it's heavier, it's just built much more solid. And it's not only the physical build, it's also, if you just look at the design of these two pans, from an aesthetic point of view, you could also see that the Proline, it just looks a lot better. You know, there's no comparison, both in terms of the build quality and the aesthetics. But in terms of actual cooking, look, the Proline is thicker, so it does offer you more thermal mass on the bottom. Although in terms of the evenness of the temperature distribution between the center and the edge, if you measure the temperature difference, they're about the same. Okay, so you're not really getting, you are getting more thermal mass with this, but in terms of the evenness of the temperature distribution, the Proline in this case, it doesn't offer, I guess, a noticeable advantage. And the other advantage that the Proline offers is obviously that it's fully clad, right? So you get the heating all the way up the edge, and you get the cooking on the side of the pan as well. But also, like I said, you know, in my previous videos, if the food is not touching the side of the pan, if you're only going to cook on this part of the pan, like with a steak, for example, then it really doesn't matter if the pan is fully cladded or if it's got a disc bottom. So let's use the example of cooking a steak. You know, in an entry-level pan like this and a high-end pan like this, if you cook the same piece of steak in both pans, can you get the same quality result from both pans? The answer is yes, you can. It just means that with this pan, because it has a little bit less thermal mass, you need to be a bit more vigilant with the control of the heat from your stove. All right, so that's the only difference there. So I guess to conclude this video, so let's go back to the Scanpan here. Now, should you buy this pan? Well, my answer is yes, especially at the price point it charges. So this is a really good value for money entry-level pan, and I think Scanpan did a lot of things right, like I said, with this product. So this pen is kind of suited to, well, first of all, if your budget is limited, then this could be a good option. Another reason that this might be a good option is that you might be starting out in stainless steel cookware. You might think that I'm not sure. I've never used stainless steel cookware before. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. So then this could be a good option for you. So if you use it and you don't like it, then you haven't lost a lot of money by choosing this pen. So yeah, overall I can recommend this piece, and I hope this video has been helpful.